Hello, everyone. We're here in the Katadama School with the Erasmus Project Entrepreneurship Education for Vet Schools. I'm Cassius, and I'm here with my schoolmate.
Samira.
And today we're interviewing a previous student of the school.
So,
I am Ailandas. I was a photography student in the same professional vocational school.
okay, so thank you for introducing yourself. And also, did you talk about, could you provide some information about your profession?
Yes, of course. Actually, I came to KTM school to learn photography. I was new to the field, and this opportunity to study here helped me a lot to make a good foundation in my profession in order to start my own business and start my career in this photography and visual arts journey.
And what was the thing that actually brought you to this field? What made you interested in it?
Actually, that might sound a little bit funny, but I quit university. I was studying media and arts, but media and arts in Lithuania sometimes have a more of a programming profession, and it was unfortunately such case that I had to study programming instead of actual visual art. And in my third year, I made the decision that I actually want to create and do content creation instead of programming. And in the beginning of my third year, I quit university. And after a gap year, I started studying in KTDM.
Thank you.
And what was there a specific aspect that made you influence to drop this your previous studies? Was there a specific moment that made you reconsider?
Yeah, of course, because I had like exposure to do filmmaking in university. In my first year, I started doing interviews, filming events and live streaming conferences or various student events. It started to attract my attention even more than the studies itself, which ended up in a job from university. It was kind of crazy situation where I was working in the same university that I was studying in, and that ended up in choosing the right choice for myself, not for somebody else.
We are very happy to hear that.
What are some of the most rewarding aspects of your profession?
There are many actually, but probably the best thing is constant development and making people happy with captured moments or creating value to businesses or people.
And can you share a memorable experience or project that has impacted you and your career?
Yeah, there were many actually, because when you look back, there's many dots that are crucial or fundamentally changes what you want to do in your life. But probably I would mention one of the most important aspects was doing a lot of mistakes in KTDM. For example, in my first study year, I wasn't even doing a lot of photography. I was filming more because I had like the stigma that I do know how to do video better. But after almost quitting KTDM in my first year, I rebounded in summer and came to my second year with a really fresh mind. I apologize to my teachers for being a little bit more stubborn and not listening well to what they meant to tell me, and which ended up in actually creating a huge exhibition, which was the joint exhibition of Kaunas Forte with my seven other classmates. And that exhibition ended up being shown probably not the whole exhibition, but material from exhibition was shown in the National Geographic's documentary. And then I had like various international contests that I had quite a huge success as well. For example, one of my photographies were exhibited in Japan. I was ranked in top 30 photos from 200,000 photos in professional level. So it's quite a good remark. Every time I look at the medal that I have from this job, it kind of makes me proud.
And how do you stay updated with the latest trends and developments in your field?
Actually, yet again, there's a lot of things that you have to keep in mind. Creative fields requires you constantly to be interested in what you're doing and what the trends are. You have to follow them, yet you don't have to solely rely on your own experience, and you have to have communities or friends that are working in the same field, and when you're feeling down, they might lift you up and motivate you to do better stuff. And then again, there's courses. I don't shy away from studying. Even now, I'm studying in university in Finland, and I'm studying in Vilnius as well, in Lithuania. I'm doing extra high competency course in commercial production. So I always keep an open-minded point of view that I need to learn as much as I can whenever I can. And of course, there's a practical field aspect when you learn by doing stuff, because you don't have no other option. You just do and find, you troubleshoot how to solve problems, basically.
That's very interesting to know and kind of motivating even about how much people put their work in their careers. And what are some common challenges you face in your profession, and how would you and have you overcome them?
It might be really broad aspect as well, because we're talking about work with people and creating and trying to fulfill what they have in mind. And sometimes people don't even know what they want, but they just want something that they saw in the media. And they kind of sometimes don't even know what they actually need to have. So probably from experience point of view, I would say the biggest issue is trying to understand what your customer actually wants. And it doesn't even apply only to photography. That's all of the service business type kind of work actually requires to understand the client better. So I would highlight this, that actually not creating for the sake of creating, but creating to generate value would be the best kind of option that I would say. So listening to client, trying to understand his needs, and offering him what he actually might need in order to get the better value or better experience. It helps as well for content creator too, because you get a better feedback or you receive a better review from clients.
Okay, and could you discuss a time when you had to make a difficult decision in your career, and how did you handle it?
There were many, and probably there's much more to come. One of the hardest times was COVID for me, because I invested over 10,000 euros in photography studio in Kaunas, and I couldn't even launch the studio itself. And all of my investment ended up not being even fulfilled, because photographing at a time was illegal. And for me to keep up that studio alive and pay for the rent was impossible, because I didn't have any kind of revenue where to generate money from. So probably that was my biggest downfall, but probably there were others as well where you didn't sign contracts and you didn't learn the hard way that you must sign the contract. And even if you're working with friends or relatives, probably having some sort of proof that you're working with some sort of rules is always beneficial because that saves friendships and you have better experience working.
That is true.
And how do you maintain a work-life balance in a demanding profession like yours?
Uh, that's a good question as well because it has different kind of point of views which I can talk about. For example, for me, it's easier to work in this kind of creative field just because my fiance is a photographer as well, and we met thanks to TTDM too. But looking in a daily life, actually having to do what is not related to your work is beneficial as well. For example, I do judo, I go to the gym, then again, I like to play tabletop games or even video games sometimes when I have time. It doesn't mean it has to be professional, but you can have like some sort of way to relieve your stress. And when you kind of get caught up in working and just working, your productivity and creativity decline. So having some sort of way to release excess stress and try to recharge the batteries is really good. For example, I even started doing rock climbing when I had time, which it seems in our country pretty much not so popular. But when I started getting sessions where I can climb even for 1 hour or something, that feeling motivates me to work even better from that point when I work out.
What are your thoughts on the future of your industry and how do you see it evolving in the coming years?
Probably when we are talking about the future of our industry, a lot of professions that have technology in it needs to address the major elephant in the room, artificial intelligence. I would say you have to expect it that there's a tool that helps you to do stuff faster, so it makes you work faster as well. But what I want to point out that even artificial intelligence is just a tool. Even though you create it, it's pretty. It doesn't have so much variety in what you create, so it won't. At least in the long run, it still won't change the aspect of creating itself, but it will surely help to improve the efficiency and speed how you can produce work. So I would say you have to embrace it, learn from it, and start working smarter. So if you want to stay relevant, you have to kind of become friends with it.
That's very nice to know. And this is our last question. If you have any other advice you could impart to the people who want to improve themselves in the business world, it would be very welcome to hear.
I heard this saying once, and I didn't comprehend the importance of it, at least for 4 or 5 years, how it is important to do that. But it is a simple thing. Be consistent. 5% per day is more than being 100% efficient a day. Meaning that if you are efficient 5 days per week, 1 hour straight every day, it is more than being efficient 1 day for 8 hours straight. That makes you kind of program yourself to be consistent, be professional, and do stuff and gain bigger knowledge field if you look in the long run throughout the year, because you gain discipline, you gain better skills how to analyze stuff and how to improve yourself better too. So, as I would say, to summarize, be consistent. 5% is more than 5% per day is more than 100% in 1 day in a week.
Thank you for your advice.
That is actually a really good advice. I would also like to do it more myself. So, thank you for joining us and talking about your experiences. Thank you everyone for listening. I hope you have learned something interesting.
Thank you for having me in this podcast. Have a nice day, guys.
You too.